Hey folks, welcome back to Honey Money SG. Now for today, let's talk about the best miles or rewards credit card with no minimum spend. But I felt that using the title no minimum spend is kind of clickbait, right? Because almost all miles credit card don't have a minimum spend, unlike cashback credit card. And maybe that is why miles credit card is getting increasingly popular as we open up more travel lanes across the world, right? People are getting more receptive to COVID measures as well as it being an endemic situation. So I guess when more people are willing to travel, then maybe more people will be interested in getting miles card to accumulate travel miles to fund their business class flights or even first class flights, right? So in this video, I'll also share my current miles credit card strategy so that you can help you maximize your miles to accumulate and get that business class reward ticket that you have been eyeing for. Firstly, let's start out with the DBS Women's World Mastercard, which is gold in color. Okay, this card is not to be confused with the DBS Women's Mastercard, which is blue in color. That card only gives you 5x rewards points, while this gold Women's World Mastercard will give you 10x reward points, 2 times of it. Now 10x DBS points is essentially 4 miles per dollar, which means for every $1 that you spend on this card, DBS will reward you with 10x reward points, which is convertible to 4 miles. Also for this card I mentioned multiple times, men like me also can apply, so don't worry too much about your gender. Just make sure you at least have the requirements to apply for the credit card. And don't worry too much about the salary limit, right? Even though it states that it's $80,000, as long as DBS Women's World Mastercard is not your first DBS card application, which means you may have other cards like DBS Altitude or DBS Live Fresh, then you apply for the DBS Women's World Mastercard, most likely you will get approved. And the reason why I love to use this DBS Women's World Mastercard is because it has a high spending limit, right? You can earn 10x reward points up to the first $2,000 of your card every month. So if you have like big purchases, maybe you want to buy an iPhone online, right, which costs like $1,000 over dollars. If you're using like cashback cards like DBS Live Fresh, right, they usually cap the rewards at like $20 cashback, which means your max cashback is only at like $600 to $800 of spend, which I don't think is worth it, right? You want to make sure that all your spend is fully captured for rewards, and that's where cards with high spending limits like DBS Women's World Mastercard that gives your first $2,000 a 10x reward points will be really rewarding to use. But the thing about this card is that it only rewards 10x reward points for online spend, so purely for online spend. But I'll teach you about a hack later how to bypass this. But the bad thing about the reward points for DBS Women World Mastercard is that they will expire within 12 months. So for example, you earn 1000 reward points in April 2022, right? Your 1000 points will actually expire next year. So you have a really short time window to actually go and redeem that points. But like I said previously, the prerequisite for playing the mouse game is that you must have a certain level of spending every month, right? Like minimum $1,000. Otherwise, I think it's not worth it to play the mouse game. Your mouse accumulation will be too slow, such that your mouse will expire worthless before it's even enough to go and redeem a business class ticket. Then by all means you should go and play the cashback game instead. Okay, next card is the City Rewards Mastercard, which is also a very attractive and popular card because it gives you 10x reward points per dollar as well, and that is equivalent to 4 miles per dollar. So City Rewards Mastercard will give you 10x reward points mainly on online spend, but excluding travel expenses. So you cannot use this card to go and book your airfares, your hotels, your tour agencies. They will not be available for 10x reward points even if they are online. Now City Rewards Mastercard is also good for offline shopping such as your fashion retail stores as well as department stores, right? This will also earn you 10x reward points for offline spending. But comparing to DBS Women's World Mastercard, the City Rewards Mastercard has a much lower spend limit of first $1,000 spend. So anything above the first $1,000 from your $1,001 onwards will not be eligible for 10x reward points because that is the cap, right? You can only earn a cap of 10,000 points per month, which means a $1,000 spending. But the good thing about the City Rewards Mastercard is that the points expire really long, right? Like 5 years from the day that you get the card. So for example, you got this card in April 2022 and then your points will only expire in April 2027. But even so, doesn't mean all your points expire in 5 years, because if you earn all your points in April 2026, right, then your points will still have a validity of until April 2027, which means just 1 year, because they will follow the card anniversary date. So this is just something you have to note for the City Rewards Mastercard, the card anniversary date as well as the expiry. You have to really keep in mind, right, because until your 5th year, you may have forgotten what I've just said like 4 years ago. What has happened? Suddenly my points disappear. Then you forget about this rule of the card expiry or the points expiry, right? And you do realize that the first two cards that I talk about, DBS Women's World Mastercard as well as Citi Rewards Mastercard, are both Mastercard. And you know what that means? It means that both of these cards can be paired with the Instagram Amaze card. So for those who are unfamiliar with Instagram Amaze, this card can allow you to link up with various credit cards. So you just have to bring out one card, the Instagram Amaze card, and then you can change the linkage of the credit cards that you want to use, be it DBS Women's World Mastercard or Citi Rewards Mastercard. Using a mobile phone, right, you just have to click it on the link. And the advantage of using Instagram Amaze card is that it gives you 1% additional cashback on top of what your credit card rewards offer you. So we are talking about 4 miles per dollar plus an additional 1% cashback. And you realize now you don't have to bring out your multiple credit cards or even store on your phone. You just need to have one Instagram Amaze card, or you could even load your Instagram Amaze card into Google Pay, and now you don't even have to bring the Instagram Amaze card physically out as well. So it will save you a lot of card space in your wallet. And also, one more biggest advantage is that Instagram Amaze removes any kind of foreign currency transaction fees. So all your foreign currency purchases will be charged at the spot rate or close to it, right? If you are using a USD purchase, then you don't have to incur like dynamic currency conversion fees, as well as all those admin charges that adds up on top of your foreign purchases. So if you are considering to use the DBS Women's World Mastercard or the Citi Rewards World Mastercard, then do remember to apply for Instagram Amaze as well, because it will just give you additional benefits. And this is the strategy I'm doing right now, because I'll just link all my purchases into Instagram Amaze, be it for my Citi Rewards or my DBS Women's World Mastercard. And then I use my phone's Google Pay, right? Then I can just pay wave at the machine, which makes all my mobile contactless transactions become an online transaction, because Instagram Amaze will route it via the online. That will be eligible for your 4 miles per dollar on both your DBS Women's World Mastercard and your Citi Rewards World Mastercard. Alright, lastly is the HSBC Revolution Visa that give you 10x reward points of 4 miles per dollar as well. But for this card, they only follow by a whitelist. So you have to follow the specific categories. What are these categories that are eligible for 10x reward points? This will be your airlines, your car rental, lodging, cruise lines, travel agencies, so many transportation and travel, department stores, retail stores, supermarket, dining and food delivery, as well as your public transport and membership clubs. These are the whitelist categories. Anything outside of these categories, those are not eligible. Also, there's a cap on this HSBC Revolution Visa, capped at 10,000 points per month. So that means your first $1,000 spent will be eligible for 10x points, and then anything after that, not eligible. Another good thing about HSBC Revolution Visa is that they have a really long expiry for the points, right? 37 months. You can really take your time to go and accumulate. But because it is a Visa card for HSBC Revolution Visa, you cannot use it to link it to your Instagram Amaze. So you forgo that 1% cashback, but you have a really long validity time for your points, so you can accumulate more. So it really depends on whether you prefer a high earn rate but you have a low expiry, or if you want a lower expiry but then you forgo that 1% and the foreign currency fee benefits from Instagram Amaze, right, then you can go and consider the HSBC Revolution Visa. So all in all, my favorite card out of these three is definitely the DBS Women's World Mastercard because of the high spend cap, right, of $2,000 per month. And then I'll link this card with my Instagram Amaze, so I will not bring out the DBS Women's World Mastercard, neither will I bring out the Instagram Amaze card. I'll just use my Google Pay from my Samsung phone, and then I can use this card anywhere, be it online or mobile contactless, right? I will just use the Instagram Amaze via my Google Pay, and that's really convenient. I don't have to worry about minimum spend anymore, and I could just earn 4 miles per dollar plus 1% cashback without any foreign currency transaction fees. So this is my credit card strategy right now, and I'm doing it because I'm tired of hitting minimum spend and tracking all those things when my time can be better used in creating more videos like this. But if all these miles and rewards cards don't really amaze you or attract you, then you may want to check out my best cashback credit card with minimum spend, because you must have some spending power, right, to get a higher level of cashback of around 5 to 6%, which you can check out from this video right here. With that, thank you for watching. My name is Christopher. This is Honey Money SG, steering young adults to financial independence.